Recently, I was reading the book of Nehemiah from the writings in the Hebrew Bible, which is connected to the book of Ezra. So it goes Ezra and Nehemiah. And as I was reading it, I was seeing little hints of Jethro everywhere in that book, and it's much of it is about the nations. Of course, the backdrop being the building of the Second Temple. But yeah, I was noticing all these little hints of Jethro, which I've become very sensitive to over the years. So I decided to look into it a little bit. And here are some hints that I noticed. Maybe you'll think this is interesting. So this is from, of course, Exodus 18, verse 11, where Jethro says, "Now I know that the Lord, Hashem, is greater than all gods. Yes, by the result of their very schemes against the people." Because Jethro was part of the council of Pharaoh, and when they decided to throw all the Hebrew babies into the water and drown them all. And, of course, this happened to the Egyptians, where they were all drowned at the splitting of the Red Sea. And this is a very interesting verse here, especially because the Zohar says, without Jethro, this non-Jew, this Cohen of Midian, or the Ger Toshav, Noahide, without him saying, "Now I know that Hashem is greater than all the other forces or all the other little gods out there or idols," if he had not said this, we wouldn't have the Torah today. That's according to the Zohar. Most people won't tell you that. But anyway, I found it very interesting that when you look at this verse and look at the commentary on it, it's describing exactly what I said. He realized that the God of the Israelites is greater than any other deity, and it was because the Egyptians were going to be drowning all these Hebrew babies, and they were themselves drowned. And then it says in Nehemiah chapter 9, where when a celebration of the Sukkot festival, after a day of atonement on which the people confess their collective sin in Jerusalem, is described in detail, the author also describes the greatness of God as being reflected in the manner in which punishments match the sins committed. So it's a measure for measure justice. So let's go have a look at that. "You performed signs and wonders against Pharaoh, all his servants, and all the people of the land, for you knew that they had acted presumptuously towards them. You made a name for yourself that endures to this day." Very interesting. And then I was having a look at a little further down, Exodus 18 again, verse 17. "But Moses' father-in-law said to him, 'The thing that you are doing is not right,' or is not good." And then we find in Nehemiah chapter 5, this is the thing that tipped me off, verse 9. "So I continued, 'What you are doing is not right.'" It's the exact same language. It's the exact same Hebrew. You ought to act in a God-fearing way, so as not to give our enemies, the nations, room to reproach us." And this is really the theme of many books, including Judges, and I could go on and on. It's really about Israel's interaction with the Goyim here, the nations, some of which were enemies, but some, like Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, weren't. They were Gerim, they were friends of Israel, and of course Jethro was a Canaanite. Canaanites were the very first pro-Hebrew, pro-Israel tribe in the world. So I just thought it was interesting that Nehemiah and Yitro are quoted saying the same things.